I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and we're gonna have a shorter, more relaxed stream today. Just one game, not two, not three, not four. It's round six, one of the decisive rounds in Group B for the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships 2022. The UK will be playing Colombia. Now, we have quite a bit of time before the match, so I suggest that we devote it to discuss the tournament situation, which I'm going to get right up over here. So these were standings before round six. As you see, China has pretty much guaranteed themselves that they're going to advance. Also, yesterday, Spain, unfortunately for us, fortunately for them, won against Latvia. So they have actually 4 wins out of 6 victories, out of 6 matches. And this means that Spain has also almost guaranteed their spot for the playoffs. And now for the third spot, so 3 teams will be competing: Brazil, United Kingdom, RCP, and well, mathematically still possible for Latvia to advance, actually. We'll discuss that scenario, what needs to happen, in just a bit. And so Colombia is the only team that does not have mathematical chances to advance. However, I do think they're not to be discounted. They will be extra motivated to get the first win on the scoreboard, and they lost quite a few close matches as well, so I don't think their 0 wins is necessarily representative of their strength. They have 3 strong players all lined up today, and I think they have their strongest lineup. We'll go through the lineups in just a second. As for United Kingdom, in order to advance, they need to win against Colombia. So if they lose against Colombia today, UK will also be eliminated. They need to win against Colombia and pretty much win the next game against Brazil. So the UK will have also their own motivation. I expect a high quality match today. But before we delve into the lineups and pick a pair to watch, let's look at some details and work through some scenarios. So, RCP is playing Brazil today, and pretty much the winner of that game will make it much easier for themselves to advance. So really, it looked like everything is going to be decided next round and not this round. However, in order for UK to advance, it will be completely sufficient for them to just win these 2 games with good results, like 4-1 or 5-0, and then they won't even need to care about the tiebreakers. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be fight for every duel as well. Now, anyway, we can discuss that a little bit later. I just want to speculate something about Team Latvia, where I'm from. Even though we're not playing today, we played yesterday. Yesterday we lost 1-4 against the ever growing in strength team for Spain. Yeah, so we had quite a tough time yesterday against Spain. So now, in order for Latvia to advance, the United Kingdom needs to lose today to Colombia. Then United Kingdom would need to lose against Brazil. Brazil would need to lose against RCP. RCP would need to lose against China. And then we would need to win against Colombia our next round as well, all possibly with favorable scores. So if that happens, then Team Latvia is advancing, which I guess this means that I have to sort of slightly root for Colombia today. But then, on the other hand, I have been living in the UK for quite a while. Also, I have quite a few friends on the team. And I generally, before last week's match, viewed the UK as one of the strongest teams overall in all of the groups, and one of the main favorites for the tournament. However, last week's upset from UK-Spain shows that anything can showed that anything can happen in any game. So I'm really not sure here. My prediction is, of course, as usual, is that one of the teams is going to win 3-2. I cannot imagine it happening any other way, and I'll try to be relatively impartial. So I'm just going to root for whichever side plays best. Hi, William. So let's look through the lineups and pick a pair. Actually, we have really good matchups today, quite close matchups. So for the United Kingdom, on table 1, we have Firuz Yaltsin with the screen name Corelli, which, by the way, is derived not from, as I thought before, not from the Italian composer Arcangelo Corelli, but I think from an English novel that was called something about Captain Corelli. So basically that's character from a novel. On board 2, definitely another interesting matchup. We have Chris Wallace with the screen name Wallace Prime, who actually is the new UK champion in face-to-face Carcassonne. You can see the video of his final game against Daniel Cheng on the channel of Dan Chard. It's up there on YouTube. I'll see if I can find it and send you and drop a link into the chat. Yes, on board 5 we have Daniel Chard, the captain, with the screen name Dan is 30. And then on board 3 and 4 we have the nominally 2 strongest UK players, so the 2 masters. With the screen name All Cake we have Ishan Malhotra, and with the screen name Ever 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 we have Nicolas Bastille. Now for Team Colombia, in the first 3 boards we have the 3 strongest players, I'd say. So Jose Ferrario with the screen name Pechitos, then Sergio Antolines with the screen name Dremcad, then the team captain Esteban Torres with the screen name Carcassonne 7, then David Triana with the screen name Sedatrisa, and Gabriel Salvador with the screen name, which I assume needs to be read as Salvatrice or Salvatres, but I guess the 3XZ have to combine into a pronunciation that's different from 3XZ. Anyway, I actually already picked a duel which I want to watch at first. Hi Glovier and hi Kirill, thank you for the nice punful wishes. I want to watch the pair of Ishan versus Esteban, so pair number 3, and the reason for that is because we didn't really get to watch this player last time just because he played so fast, but Ishan lost his match against Spain, so maybe he'll now play slower so that we get to talk a little bit more. And then if they play faster, we'll just have more time to watch other games. Okay, they haven't even started yet, so that's a good thing. However, it's already 1 minute past 5 p.m. and in that, if I were anybody rooting for Colombia, I would already get quite paranoid because, as you see, if you don't join the game within 4 minutes from the scheduled start, you get an automatic loss. So the rules regarding that are quite harsh this week. We definitely don't want to miss out on Carcassonne due to loss by default. The game is starting. And of course, as usual, I forgot to remove the group standings, but now I did remember. All right, so we already have our first question in the chat. In your opinion, which country is stronger between Spain and China? Despite Spain's growing strength and the fact that Spain has pulled two major upsets, defeating the UK and defeating Latvia and defeating Brazil as well. These are really a great accomplishment. I do think that China is incredibly strong, and they're still one of the favorites for the tournament. And also, China won against Spain. It was a close match, but Team China will indeed be very hard to stop this year. Alrighty. Okay, so it looks like Ishan with the yellow meeple here is thinking, which is very good. And this is already a move that immensely surprises me, because I would expect for the city cap to be facing up. So much so, well, so that the city is less vulnerable. So much so that I don't really see much value at all in turning over here, but maybe the player with the yellow meeples knows something that I don't. Now again, curious to see which way yellow is going to turn his juicy triangle tile. Maybe downwards. Okay, so going for the slightly safer route because there are more tiles that fit here. An alternative was to go for the greedier route, try to snatch 2 points for the road upon completion. But yellow plays it safer. 2 quick points for reds. And now yellow, I assuming, will complete his ring road, but will he drop an early field meeple or not? That's a good question. And he did not. Quite a peaceful start from so far, and I think so. Now we see the first move, which I find a bit unambitious from the play with the red meeple. This city was in a safe location, and it seemed to me that instead red could have started harassing yellow city by starting a new city instead of completing his old ones, because always we got to remember there are many more tiles in the deck that are good for continuing cities, but not so many that are good for starting cities. And now range of options for the yellow player. Probably this incredibly surprises me. I mean, definitely looks like yellow is going for the safer route over here. I would expect yellow to take this city any day of the week, especially since I've seen them play before, and they do seem to grab points early on aggressively in the game, as they do right now. So even though this road is vulnerable, he still hopes to get these 5 points. Again, range of options over here. You could take 4 points, which is what I would do, or you could start a new city over here, placing the starting tile like here. Of course, going for the objectively better move, really. And now everything over here is turning into a larger field. Again, another very interesting decision here. I see 3 legit moves. Well, 4 technically. So red could. Yeah, that was one of them. An alternative, red could have just added this tile to the left and try to block yellow's meeple. A fantastic tile for yellow. As we see, not only does yellow start the 6-point monastery, he also pre-completed his road. And as we know, road ends are very valuable. If you manage to complete the tile without road ends, then you are in a very good spot. And now I think a misstep here from the play with the red meeples, leaving such a valuable tile, the tile that's worth potentially 4 points to his opponent. So we see a lot of conservatism from both players, but more so from red, potentially missing out on a few points here and there. Now this road also looks now quite safe, especially considering the fact that yellow drew the city cap. Kirill is saying maybe the yellow player watched your videos and thus knows that it is often not advantageous to place field meeples early. I'm not sure if they're watching my videos actually at all. I think overall they're doing very well without any external help. So recently they were rated over 700. And as we see, yeah, the field does look quite closed. Okay, so this monastery is red just has to meeple it. Red has 6 meeples to spend. He has to get points somewhere. Yellow has a massive opening advantage if this city gets completed and there's still plenty of city caps remaining. Then that's advantage is going to turn serious. And I like this move by red, not only gaining 4 points but also creating a platform for attacking the city. Well, it doesn't work out for red. However, at least red gets the compensation in the form of 1 point, 1 monastery point for the completed city. I love this monastery placement from yellow. So yellow recognizing that he has the advantage now. And instead of taking the 5 monastery points below, he chose to take 3 monastery points. Well, technically 4, but you're also giving 1 monastery point to your opponent. But then yellow makes sure that he shares squares, lots of squares, with red, so that red does not have the incentive of developing the monastery. And now it's very, very hard for me to understand red's move. Because as you see, red has spent a lot of tiles on blocking, and none of these blocking attempts had a high probability. So for example, this is really not so much a block, but rather a delay, because there's still 2 tiles that fit over here, meaning that there is a 75% chance yellow will get that tile eventually. And also yellow does not necessarily need the meeples back to win the game, just because the advantage on the scoreboard is so high. There are not many point scoring opportunities, while this 6-point field with 2 completed cities, due to a high number of green squares, could develop into something further. So for example, if red is to win the game, then you drop a divider here right now, and you drop a field meeple, and you try to build a field, build up on your meeple advantage to try to make up for all the lost points. There's still plenty of city caps in the game, but again, instead, red goes for something that just does not give him a lot of points. And it's an interesting situation. So these moves are not like bad necessarily, but given the point scoring situation, I can't see how red is planning to win the game with them. There's also another issue with these great move by yellow, making it harder to complete this spot, and it is definitely in yellow's interest that this never gets completed. A very dangerous city meeple over here. Will he get away with it? And somehow he does. Even though yellow was at a meeple disadvantage, this was the perfect spot for a field meeple, because now there's these 9 points and red will be first there. And well, but you see he goes further with the blocking and just adds points to his opponent. So there is now a fantastic move, yes, and drop a field meeple. You see what happened over here? So yellow went the first on the field. And even though this is a small 3-point field, it will get connected to this larger 9-point field. Probably now, actually. If I were yellow, I would just add this straight line over here to make sure that this field connects, and then make it much harder for red to fight for this field. And another thing what this move accomplishes, it pre-builds a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-point road. So if, or should I say when, yellow draws one of the T-shaped crossroads that fit nicely in this hole, then yellow will be also able to claim this 6-point road. I love the strategy here by yellow. Yellow just keeps getting points and creating threats of completing cities. And so he's just, and in this situation, red was simply forced to continue his blocking attack. But again, it's not complete because there's still a 50% chance. Well, field meeple, I assume. Okay, so now yellow probably should be able to not only tie this field, but even win this field outright. It will require some good tiles, but still, due to the meeple advantage, I expect this to happen. However, just because yellow was the first on the field, this means that it will require red to invest many more resources into fighting for this field and many more moves. And just like in football, when the score is 1-0 and you know the team just plays from defense and makes sure that nothing happens, in Carcassonne is the same thing. All yellow wants is for the tiles to run out, and they are slowly running out. There are very few opportunities for big points. Well, I see 4 points over here, for example. Okay, so I see 4 points over here. Possibly you could win the field if you're red, but all that requires tiles. And also an important aspect is that 5 of the 6 monastery tiles are already out, so you can't claim a 6, 7, or 8-point monastery anywhere. Well, they're this 6-point field, but everything is so close that I can't see red turning the game around in such a short time span. Okay, thank you for updating the result. William Prime is saying that Nick ever already won their first game somehow. To me, that's inexplicable. However, I mean, if you win, then there can be no questions to the winner. If you can win fast, then win fast. Why not? I'll just update the score real quick. Something I did not expect I'd be doing at that stage. Red is drawing pretty good tiles. This is the one that yellow needed very much. Yellow also not in a position to block this city. However, yellow is in a position to defend his own city, which he does not do, and this surprises me. Well, red now getting a bit closer on the scoreboard. Still not quite enough, but if red somehow draws the remaining T-shaped crossroads. Oh wow, what a field meeple for yellow. Okay, it's so now just red needs to accomplish so much, so he needs to win this field outright, then he needs to fight for this field. And now yellow will eliminate a connection spot. Making it nearly impossible. Okay, you can drop, yeah, perfect. You can drop a field meeple over here for 6 points, and then you can hope for the remaining starting tile that fits over here, and then you get 4 points for the road, and then you get to share these cities. So definitely red should be going for high risk, high reward moves. Again, a tile that red could really use over here. That would give him a massive number of points, but it's not gonna happen. Oh, by the way, I see in the chat we're discussing early field meeple. Well, basically, I think when Elias Mochan was my special guest, then we discussed this quite in depth, and the answer to that really is it depends on the potential of the field and also on the playing style of your opponent. So there are opponents against whom I'm not going to place an early field meeple, and there are some opponents against whom I will place an early field meeple. So for example, if I know that my opponent really likes farms, I might not place an early field meeple in order to induce them to overfarm, if I see that the farm doesn't have a lot of potential. Again, well, yellow drawing some nice tiles over here. This one is something that red would love to see, so that he could take away this nice field over here. Was that a really quick calculation? Did red decide that there is an opportunity to connect? But by the way, yellow does win yet another coin flip. Okay, this looks like a tilt move, because red did not calculate whether it was possible to connect to the city, and it turned out that it wasn't. Missing out on a couple of points here, but you know, that's okay. It does seem that yellow is getting the better draws to help with his play as well. But on the other hand, red did get all the tiles for this place. So it seemed to me that the outcome of the game was very hard to influence from about the middle of the game. All right, let's see what the final score is. The final score is plus 30 for yellow. I think it actually would have been much closer had yellow not gotten this tile. So then yellow would have 5 points less. And then red would have 1, 2, 3, 8 points more. So then, yeah, the score would have been like, there would be a 15-point difference. So probably red needed a couple more coin flips. Well, anyway, I did find many aspects of this game quite interesting, especially how yellow, despite the meeple disadvantage, managed to hold on to the field just because there simply wasn't enough time for red to take them over. Alrighty, I don't know, which duel do you want to watch next, actually? Hello, Oscaridis. Okay, let's see what's going on. I'm not sure if anybody else is playing. We're probably not gonna... Actually, let's see. Well, we have to catch up with the current UK champion, don't we? And the game... Interestingly, that the Colombian player has the British player outrated. However, most importantly, the British player has the Colombian player outscored, at least on the scoreboard, and it looks like there are no features on the board to make up for that. I wonder what happened in this game. Well, it does seem that this blocked city over here might be an important aspect. However, nah, red only has +7 in this mini battle, so it's not gonna change things significantly. No big fields, so we're just gonna wait until yellow takes it home. Oh, check this out. Yellow was also trying to connect his road over here and get new points into his farm. That's maximum level greed. Of course, greed is good in Carcassonne. As you might remember from one of my videos, which actually happens to be the most viewed puzzle. It's called... it's just called Carcassonne Middle Game Puzzle. Oh, no, not that one. It's called... Yeah, I just called Carcassonne Opening Puzzle. Yeah, maybe I should think of more interesting video titles. Interesting choice over here. Not taking 2 points. Instead, pre-building a city for your opponent. But I guess red can afford... Oh, I did it. I was doing so well. They were both... In both games, there were players with the red and yellow meeples, and I kept super carefully saying the right colors, so I lasted, what, 23 minutes. Okay, it's not a bad result. Of course, I meant to say that yellow pre-built a city for red. Unfortunately for red, not a sufficient number of tiles to complete it. Well, that's a bit puzzling to me. Why red would take... Why yellow would take 2 points instead of 6 points. Probably just realizing that the points don't matter anymore. Although, I don't know. I typically, like, just for practice purposes, to get the maximum number of points on my last move. So even though I know that I won the game, or especially if I lost the game, then I would spend a couple of minutes trying to find the best move. But I assume yellow just wanted to save the mental energy for the next match, which we are gonna watch. All right, let me just check the chat real quick. Scoreboard. I did update the scoreboard, but no, I did not. Okay. So Wallace Prime 1. Yeah, so far UK is doing very well. And then Ishan 1. And I think that's about it. Although we are going to take a quick look at the other games before continuing with this pair. Okay, so Daniel is still playing against Gabriel. It's just the last tile, and it looks like the Colombian player managed to pull this upset. At least the scoreboard indicates so. However, this ruin suggests otherwise, and so does this 6-point field and this 6-point field and this 8-point monastery. Red doesn't appear to have any big features here. This is one of those cases where the meeple advantage did not prove particularly helpful. Well, also, red lost a coin flip, of course. With this curve, he would have scored 6 points instead of 3. But let's see what the final result is. Oh, check this out. Actually, it really all came down to the last tile, because with the last curve, blue was able to take 1 point. and so 1 instead of 0, and red was able to take 3 instead of 6. So if the tiles were reversed, then it would have been a tie, and because blue was the first to start this game, blue would have lost. But it did not happen, and looks like Team UK is heading on towards a convincing start. And so it's going to be one more point for the team, one more little point for the team earned by the team captain. Whoops. Yeah, I forgot that real names don't work. Okay, great. So now these players are actually taking their time. And here, still anything could happen. The Colombian player is ahead on the scoreboard this time. He also happens to be the rating favorite. And he also controls a 12-point field over here at the bottom with 2 meeples. While on the other hand, black is controlling a 12-point field with 3 versus 2, so +1 meeple. So that's a better, so that's 12 points per meeple versus 6 points per meeple. However, it looks like black will not have the time to capitalize on their meeple advantage, and this one will go to Colombia. Well, I guess black can score 4 points taking a city ruin at the bottom. Can't really see anything better for them. Williams saying that Ever 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 has almost finished the second game. That sounds so much like them. Well, by the way, I don't know if you're, for those of you who are also participating in the championship, the slower your play, the more likely your game is going to be streamed. So if you're interested in your game being covered with live commentary, just play slower. Also, playing slower is good for you, unless you're winning. I don't know, at least when I make mistakes, most of the time it's because I play too fast. Now what I expect to see is red taking this 5-point road. And black just left with a little ruin for 4 points. This is an interesting situation that in closed positions, very often it's hard to capitalize on your meeple advantage just because there are not many points to grab. So I wonder how this 12-point field arose in such a closed environment. Would have been interesting to check. Alrighty, while the points are being counted, I'm gonna to remind you of one more thing. This is the penultimate round of the group stage, which means that our prediction game is coming to an end. If you want to win a real, physical 20-year anniversary edition Carcassonne, then comment with the team that you think is going to win the championship, and you can do so until June 19th. We've received 8 predictions so far. And when you do your predictions, when you make your predictions, make sure to mention not only the first place, but also the first, second, third, and fourth place. In case of one or more than one person betting on the same team, your predictions for the second, third, and fourth place in the championship will be used as tiebreakers. By the way, also have to remind you that for those of you who have predicted before, you can still update your prediction by June 19. Of course, then you won't get the advantage because this is another tiebreaker. Whoever predicts earlier sort of gets the preference in determining the winner. However, if you've bet on a team that has already been eliminated, then probably you would want to update your predictions. I know a couple people bet on Romania, which surprisingly was eliminated in their match against Malaysia last week. That's one of the biggest upsets of the tournament, if you ask me. But in the meantime, I think we might follow the same pair, just because it's nice to watch the game from start to finish. And we've already, I'm assume, obviously, you know, Dremcat against Wallace Prime is a good match to watch, but we haven't really seen a lot of Feiruz's games. Well, also because he wasn't playing a lot. So I'm just going to keep refreshing. Oh yeah, and in order to predict, you can either comment on this stream or comment on any of my other videos. I will see that regardless. Perfect. My favorite stage of the game to comment on is actually the opening, because that's part where I can make sense, and that's also the part where most mistakes tend to happen. But so far, both players are playing just perfectly, claiming twice 4 points, small advantage for Corelli. But the opening is not over. I like this move, claiming the 2-point road by red and also indirectly protecting his city, looking to equalize in the opening. And now this is where the skill really shows. A tile that has a range of options for it. You could either take a city cap, or you could claim a field, just dropping a divider over here, over here, over here. But in both cases, there's a good question where, and to me, it's not immediately obvious which of the two moves is correct. So you might think that dropping a city cap over here and dropping a field meeple could be a good move, because this city cap harasses red city a little bit. But in fact, this would give the opportunity for red to connect to the triangles. Okay, so now we see that Corelli is going to the field, and yes, of course, now once that this move happens, we know that a field meeple is coming. Definitely a legit move over here. And now if I were red, I would be patient. I would not complete the city. Instead, I would start cleaning off these city caps. Just cleaning off the city caps at the start of the game is crucial. And just like that, this field turned into a 9-point field. And I would expect more field meeples on the field. Exactly that. Now this road starts looking a bit vulnerable, although still nothing too drastic. there are some scenarios. Actually, red could even take a curve it downwards, and then make sure that he has 3 of these tiles left that fit under here, the T-shaped crossroads. One of the T-shaped crossroads has already been used, but it fits nicely over here. Alright, see, so black wants to use a city tile like a city tile. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, now we'll see how ambitious red really is with his slight point disadvantage. Yeah, and this is the move which looks okay, but I don't think it is the best one. I mean, you could, of course, finish the road over here, and finishing the city here is legit as well. But I, much more than that, like scoring 2 points over here and turning the city cap towards your city cap so that you can later finish the city with a triangle. There's still 9 triangles remaining, 11 if you include the divider, and this is the move that I think could, well, if not cost red the game, but definitely make it much harder for them. There's still points to attack this field. It's not like super urgent. There will be another point. There will be another point. Much better is a 7-point monastery. I mean, red might get an 8-point monastery later on, but now you're flipping for it. So the chances are roughly equal. It could be black that first takes the monastery, and if black first takes the monastery, they will be at 20 points, soon 21 because that gets completed. So it will be really hard. Now a dilemma for red. Do they place this tile over here, or do they place this tile over here and fight for the city? I think that red has to risk it and leave this vulnerable spot alone and join the city immediately. You do not want your opponent to finish an 8-point city and drop a field meeple. Actually, that's the move over here is almost automatic. Because basically, if you can help it, black completing the city in this position is just unacceptable for red. Alright, so now we're seeing, thank you William for the updates, we're seeing that Ever maybe got punished for their quick playing and lost the second game against David Sedatrice. In the meantime, Ishan with the screen name Oh Look Cake won the second game, earning the United Kingdom their first big point. Well, in the meantime, we see that red got quite fortunate and won the coin flip. Equalized the field and got some nice monastery points. Despite having the slightly worse odds. And there we have it. With that monastery, red is back on the scoreboard and even slightly ahead. Now we see an interesting move over here. Black using a valuable tile to block off this field connection. The problem with that move is that there's still a field connection in the other way around with extra value. And what black missed over here with this move is a potential for 4 points, and 4 points is a lot of points. Now probably red is going to take this 4 point. Oh yeah, I think I just forgot whose move it was. Again, I'm surprised by this move. I would, every day of the week, I would take this city cap, because now red is going to take this city cap. Oh, Willie. Given that there is a field fight, it is actually worth getting your meeple back just because meeples are crucial. Red has the advantage on the scoreboard anyway. And now red will have the meeple advantage. Black will have to spend moves on connecting over here. So maybe even red doesn't need these 4 points that bad. However, a meeple would do. So the problem with this, yeah, I do like the move. Of course, this sequencing is not ideal. Red would have loved to draw a triple city with a road, in which case the decision would have been more obvious, but it's still a good decision. And it seems now that this move over here and maybe this move over here, they could result in some point loss for black, and that could fundamentally influence their win condition, because it appears that in order to win, black will now need to win the field outright, whether for red it will be sufficient just to tie the field. Well, we do expect some quick points from Jose, but the question is, where do you take them? Definitely the first two candidate moves are over here and over here. It seems to me that on the right is slightly better for a range of reasons that I'm going to explain in a second. So actually, so tip for you who also play Carcassonne, I mean, most of you who are watching, you also play, is that when you have a crossroads and you know that you're going to take quick points, it's good to spend some time and think, where is the most equity? Like, can you accomplish anything else with this crossroads? And so red chose to place it over here so that he creates an additional platform to attack this city. However, actually placing it on the other side gave slightly better odds, well, significantly better odds. We can go later into detail at some point, but it has to do with these two tiles over here being both used. You see that city with a left turn, because it's an interesting situation. So you see, you have this city with a left turn and this city with a left turn. You might think it's not a big deal, but this run out of tiles creates asymmetry when it comes to blocking attempts, because now both opponents will be, or at least should be, eager to block their opponent's cities from one side but not the other side, just because there are fewer tiles remaining with that type of curve. In the meantime, I gotta remind everybody three important things actually. First of all, meeple the like button for the algorithm. It is important, it actually does help. Second, be sure to subscribe if you intend on viewing this stream more than once. It also does help really a lot, even though it does take a bit of your time. Also, if you want to get notifications, be sure to click the bell icon after you subscribe. However, even that might not be enough. I know it's surprising, but at least you get a higher probability. No, just like in Carcassonne, YouTube all is about probabilities. You get a higher probability that you're gonna get the notification. And now we see red going the long route, but finally equalizing the field. And it looks like the field is gonna stay that way, because it's quite difficult to create connection spots. And inexplicably to me, black eliminates a connection spot. So it would actually be possible to connect from the outside using a triangle with a city cap. But it's in black's interest to create variance in the position, because black is behind 10 points on the scoreboard and he has only 2 points to show for it on the field. Even if he gets to complete his city, admittedly there's a high chance for that, despite many city caps being already used, he will still be behind. So it's in black's interest to either use this monastery as a monastery, because there's a sufficient number of meeples to do that, just somewhere over here, really. Yeah, I think it was a good idea, actually. Almost a must. I mean, what do you need these 3 meeples for, really? Well, they're all big tiles. 7 out of 8 big tiles are still in the game. So possibly they're gonna be like a big ruin later. But it's hard to build a big ruin. There are not many places. And you see, red actually doesn't mind. Red just wants to spend the meeples and get some points. So red was very close to connecting everything into one big road. But even without that, 5 points seems to be a neat investment. Has 2 tiles that will be of 3 points of value to him. So I wouldn't be surprised if, to use the British expression, red went the full hog over here and just took this ring road. Although not that I would necessarily advise that, but that's an option for sure. The thing is just there's just not many ways to extract value from this tile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So instead he just chooses to dump it and eliminate the roads for the other player, which certainly looks legit. Because red recognizes he doesn't need to go too hard on the points. He does not want his ring road to get blocked. Also considering the fact that 6 turns, 6 curves have already been used. 5 out of 8 crossroads have already been used. Arab is asking, any special guests this week? Well, this week is almost over, so no, yeah, I figured we just have a quiet stream. One of my things that I thought, well, actually, the reason why we don't have a special guest today is twofold. One, to be honest, I'm a bit, I wouldn't say depleted, but I'm a bit tired after yesterday's loss to Spain. The second idea is last time the British players played so fast, I barely got to speak to my guests, so I just figured that I wouldn't be able to do both things at the same time. But next week there is going to be a guest for sure. And there we have it. Now red is about to block, I assume. I think red won't even be taking these 2 points over here. The block looks kind of more powerful to me. On the other hand, not really. There are still less useful tiles with which red can do that. So probably I do like the 2 points better. One of the reasons is that 2 dividers are still in the game. So even if red adds this big nasty city tile over here, it won't make it much harder for black to complete this piece, this city, because black will still have 2 tiles left that separate his little city from this ruin. And given that red is ahead, red would need to assume that his opponent is going to get massively lucky. So basically red would need to assume that black will get this tile, but he doesn't. Instead, I believe that red will simply score 4 points over here. However, this move I rather like, not all by black, and it creates a threat, which is why red has not played this 4-point move on the right here automatically, because not only is black about to block this road over here. Actually, maybe, you know, this is a 5-point meeple. Red probably doesn't mind the block that much. The bigger problem is that black sets up a field connection that reds can't really use. So one move that is not the worst move at all is dropping the divider over here still leaving a room for a monastery with a road, and there's still one monastery road with remaining, and dropping a field meeple, and he does that. Wow, I quite like this. And the reason why he did that, he just wants to make sure that black does not drop a field meeple himself. And also, this divider gives him insurance. If red never draws his monastery, then at least he's going to have this 6-point city, this 6-point field from these two little cities over here. And also, in case of emergency, there is one more green square to try and squeeze out a small city, like for the 9 points. And also, it's just nice to have a 50% almost win, really, in this case. Because if red does draw this monastery, then it both gets him 9 points. Eventually, it connects him to the farm. It finishes his road. So it's a 50% move that is just highly impactful. So I don't know about this move over here. Definitely was a good attempt. But maybe black could have considered simply investing one of those meeples. So you see, black spent a lot of these row tiles and doing just nothing. However, imagine if this curve were over here and this curve were over here. This would have already been a nice 7-point road, and that's worth a permanent meeple investment, really. And here we have black pre-building a ruin for himself, not committing a second meeple in a disciplined way. I rather like it. So it is very tempting for red now to actually take this ruin. And I feel like he almost has to. Not that there's many things to do, and also you have to bear in mind what tiles are remaining. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are still 5 triangles remaining, with which it is not possible to do much other than claiming cities. And there's still 4 big tiles remaining, so 3 triple cities and 4 quadruple cities. So that's 9 tiles for which red wouldn't have any use other than creating a city. Now, if red were severely behind, a nice move would be to take this triangle and place it over here, kind of pre-building this city. But then you would have to hope for, what's that? What's 75 times 88? I think 57? Yeah, so then this would... Oof. Okay, looks like he just decided to dump the tile, but then he creates an opportunity for opponent to risk. I'm not a huge fan of this move, by which I mean it's definitely a mistake. Because imagine if black now draws a triangle, places it over here, and then he will have a 75% chance of completing a city. Well, if it doesn't get blocked. Three points for black. In the meantime, 3 points for red. In the meantime, a field meeple for black. And that's the stuff that I was talking about. Too many of those remaining. And I think now, black might not even care about getting the one remaining divider. He just might connect this and have one big ruin to himself, which will be almost as big as the field. Also, like all this stuff, it just gives black more possible win conditions. So for example, another interesting scenario that I do see. Do you see this little city cap with a road? There are still 2 of those remaining. So this means that black could complete this city cap and connect to the field with tempo, which would require red to reconnect from above, but, you know, maybe this connection can be blocked somehow, even though the probability is low. So black chose 2 points instead of 1, 2, 3. instead of 6 points. 6 points, I understand that. This also creates a field connection, because you could drop something over here and connect through the outside of a curve, or through a monastery if you're really desperate. So this move, actually, I do understand, but actually, there's one move that I do like. There are not many city caps, but red could just try and build a city here and see what happens. It is blockable, but there will be decent percentages. So there is one cap with a crossroads. There is one starting tile, so cap with a straight road. Then there's also two of these guys. One of these guys that's already 5 caps. One divider that's already 6 caps. And then 1, 2, okay, there are no simple caps. 6 caps, and then of different different types of caps. I think with 24 tiles remaining, especially given that you're likely to get a cap with a 25% chance on your very next move, starting this city over here on the right is worth doing. So you could take this cap and then separate this ruin from here. Then also make sure that this ruin is completely blocked, that it is a shorter ruin. Yeah, and I don't really see any other move. That's actually also decent, just simply more conservative. Yeah, I actually quite like this. Even though it will give him fewer points, it's a higher chance that this city will be completed, and also it makes it harder for black to use this spot as a connection platform. But then here's the dilemma. Do you drop a field meeple or not? Probably. Oof. Could be a bit early. Because yes, I was literally about to say that. Like you have to think, because there's gonna be a curve, and he's gonna place. This is a standard situation. We have this double move over here, where black gets to both block the entrance for red, and also gets an unblockable connection for himself. So now red already has to hope for monastery in 2 spots, both here to complete his road and here to connect through the outside of the field. I see that the main idea was that red wanted to place a field meeple so that black doesn't place a field meeple over here. But the thing is, had red not placed a field meeple over here, black could have done it. At least red would have an opportunity to a spare meeple to re-enter somehow. And maybe if he gets to take his ruin, a fieldless win condition. Actually, that's something that you always need to keep in mind. When the field is medium sized, as it is now, so it's only 5 cities, it's not an automatic win if you get the field. I do like this move from red over here. Kind of getting some compensation, trying to build a small field for himself. And then also he'll get to score a road, and that looks like his fieldless win condition. Maybe he's debating like whether it's worth to complete his role. Maybe he's hoping that he would get to complete his to monastery, but 6 points is a lot. There's another city cap in his field. This could turn into a 9-point field, and if he does get the city caps for here and here, he won't need to care about these here parts. Now, red does have a meeple problem though, because there's so many beautiful things that you want to do with this tile. Well, first of all, you want to claim this ruin. You really, really want to claim this ruin. It's already worth 8 points. It will be worth 9 points. But also you want to take this city with a 75% chance for completion. That's also huge. But then again, you need the spare meeple to have an opportunity to score points for these city caps. So red is in quite a predicament due to his meeple situation. And it's one of those positions where it's really, really hard for me to recommend something. Maybe red could just place this over here and start a block. But then again, red is also super short on time, so he should probably be doing intuitive moves. And instead he just dumped the tile over here. Also kind of a reasonable move. All right, and we see that Gabriel Salvador won the second game against the team captain. Thank you for sharing that, William. So now the match becomes tighter, which as Carcassonne viewers is exactly what we want. But since I assume most of my supporters will be rooting for the UK, maybe that's not exactly what you want. Again, for me as a commentator, I want all duels to end 2-1. And the final score to be 3-2 for one of the teams. That's all I care about. So, it's still something that could happen in both of the games. So Corelli here could definitely win if he's with his field in ruin. Geraldine behind the scenes is maybe coming towards the end of the year, because there's still the tournament to cover, and then after the tournament there are a couple of other things I wanted to do, namely to catch up on just the pre-made usual videos. By the way, we see a coin flip resolved in Black's favor. Not only Black gets to score 3 points over here, not only does he get to prevent Red from scoring 9 points over here, but also he leaves himself room for the divider to separate his cities. And actually now, Black could just try and complete this city. Why not? There's still 3 triangles remaining and 1 divider. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Check this out, the city over here on the right. You take it and you complete it. Why not? Well then, despite the lower probability, Red might do it. Or Red might just say enough is enough, I'm gonna take this ruin, and now this might be a better move because Red would then get to try and block this meeple over here. It looks like an important ruin. It looks like a fieldless win condition. So let us count that up, actually. So, so instead he goes for this. Interesting. Definitely another legit move. 3 tiles remaining to complete that city. Corelli might want to try and block that. But then let's see over here. So Red is ahead by 15 points on the scoreboard. Red draws a very nice tile that Black needed over here. And then Red just gets to add a little bit. Black did not manage to block his city and had to sacrifice an important tile to accomplish this. Now I see a decent move over here, maybe Black can go over here, try to create another blocking platform, and also pre-build his ruin some more. It looks pretty much like the only move to me. But let's see it again. So 15 points for the field, 15 points on the scoreboard. So this difference cancels out. And then red has 6 points over here. And then in this mini battle, red has +3. So red currently is at +9. Oh, actually there's also this road, so at +15. So black has to hope to somehow get 15 more points with one meeple. The thing is that actually is completely doable, because if black gets the divider, a lot of this game might come down to the divider. Then he gets to finish his 6-point city, that's another +4, and he gets to claim this ruin, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so this would be a move that gives him 13 with no investment of a meeple, and then he could just score, I don't know, maybe 6 points for this road or something. If there are still curves remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so there are 2 curves remaining. I like this move, but it looks like red took the opportunity that black did not take and got to finish his city on time, thus sealing the game, really, because he has also added field points to himself. Maybe, yeah, I like this move. Black can hope to equalize the field and get the divider, but he does not get the divider, which means that as a result of this coin flip, red will take this enormous ruin, black will tie it, but it will be too late to do something in this game. Very interesting imbalance over here. So red's just scoring more smaller points and then investing a permanent 6-point meeple into the road. This field turned out to be quite lucrative, actually, despite my initial criticism of it being premature. Oh, well, a nice, actually, 6-point move over here from black. So I think it will make the game a little bit closer. But not sufficiently. So, interesting moral, right? Red lost a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 21-point field. See a lot of small cities over here. But red went for the alternative win condition instead. Right, so we're gonna congratulate Jose on the first big point for Colombia. Willem is saying you should go visit the Carcassonne Museum. Whereabouts that? Is that in Carcassonne? Is that in Essen? I mean, so it looks like Nick Ever did win the third game. Thanks, William, for the updates. Alrighty. And then Sergio equalizing against Chris on board number 2. So that would be an interesting decider to watch. However, we might first go to the captain. See if something interesting happening there. So now this match outcome of 3-2 looks increasingly likely. In order to win this match, Colombia needs to win both remaining games, and UK will make do with just one. Oh, the Carcassonne Museum is in the UK. That's interesting. I have to. I didn't know that, actually. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, now you gotta, it's very hard to decide. Now you gotta help me out. Which one do you want to watch? Do you want to watch Dan more or do you want to watch Chris more? I'm kind of just defaulting on Dan over here, unless I say otherwise, because we just haven't seen his games ever. As he spends his last blue meeple. To the UK Championship, he brought his custom-made meeples, where the meeples actually look like him, like his like the cartoon version of him. Here in the online world, Dan does not have this kind of advantage. He does have the meeple advantage though, because this red meeple is looking very sad. Very sad. However, this is also looking sad, and this is looking sad. And yet, despite the large number of blocked meeples, red still somehow has the meeple advantage and the advantage on the scoreboard. Oh, I'm surprised by this move. I thought Dan would just try and build up the city, because red will make sure to start blocking this stuff. By the way, also, it's important to recognize that this meeple is blocked permanently. Normally, there would be 3 tiles that fit here, but all of them have been used. 1, 2, 3. Also, it looks like a tricky situation for Dan, because there are not many city caps left. In fact, unless Dan gets a curve ASAP, he could be left without meeples for a long, long time. He does, that's where the meeple advantages come from. Dan is controlling this field with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no wait, 1, 2, 3 meeples, and the field is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. So red, I assume, will now grab 1 point over here. I'm saying 1 point and not 4 points, because this city cap is in blue's field. So red will get 4 points for this city, and blue will automatically get 3 points for this field. Red has created a field connection. However, he won't try connecting to the field, simply because there's no way he's gonna win it. Just because blue has locked the majority over here. And now we see also red a bit more fortunate with the draws, getting these city caps. Now Dan placing this road ending tile not over here, because this is now partially blocked, but here to block the block. Okay, so this is actually quite a subtle move. So with this move, blue blocked the square, which red could use to create a blocking square for blue's city. So it's the block of a block of a block. Yes. And these kind of moves do add those few percentages of equity that you sometimes need to win a game. However, there was another move that I like slightly better, or maybe it's something that blue can do a little bit later. Just take this tile over here, or a similar tile, and place it above to try to expand your field a little bit so that it reaches not only this city, but also this little city over here. There's no risk in expanding your field, because red will never have a sufficient number of meeples to fight for this field. All right, Willem in the chat, who appears to be the owner of the largest Carcassonne collection in the UK and possibly the world. Actually, I believe I've heard about that, but in the context that people were saying that it's very hard to get a present for you, a Carcassonne-based present, because you just might already have it, and you normally do. Now, it's a good question. What does red really do here? You want to grab this ruin at some point, but when is the right time? And in order to decide that, we should try and count some points. Yeah, so now Dan doing the thing, maybe watching the stream on his phone while playing, trying to get this fields. And now yet again, red drawing the tile that blue needed over here to complete a city. And I'm wondering if that was not the last one. No, I don't think so. But in the meantime, red just keeps scoring points. And blue keeps not getting points. Well, I think, no, I think there was an opportunity. Maybe that was played a little bit too fast. It looks like Dan could have used this move to save a city. Again, always take your time. Always take your time. Come on. But there are these two of those things, right? There are two of those things. So if you curve it outwards, you get to save your city. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. Because there's still two tiles like these over here. City cap with a curve that fits nicely over here. And this would have connected the fields anyway, so maybe instead of the curve over here, place it over here. We also see that red is just getting all the tiles that blue needs to free up his meeple. This tile, this tile. Oh, interesting, Willem. Do you own a Latvian Carcassonne as well? If you say you're collecting anything in any language. And by the way, we're about to witness a block over here. I wonder why we did not witness it the previous move. Because it looks to me that unless blue gets his meeple back, his field advantage, formidable though it may be, will not be sufficient. So the field is worth 21 points because it has 7 completed cities on it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And it just seems to me that all red needs to do is place this tile over here, make it impossible to complete this city, and then just take this ruin and win, I don't know, with about +8 as a result. I'm not quite sure. Normally, I'd advise players to take their time, but now I have a selfish interest of seeing more games. I definitely hope that we get to catch a good portion of Chris's game, and his games have shown to be quite entertaining. And his game also looks like it's going to be the decider for the whole thing. because if red does find the winning move over here, he will win the game. In the meantime, let's actually maybe count up the tiles, and maybe somebody can count up the points. Right, one. So there's still 2 of those remaining. I can't help but see otherwise. So 2 of those remaining, and so now we need to find out 3 more tiles. Big cities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Triangles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is there 1 triangle more left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But the remaining triangle is not helpful to blue because it is a triangle without a road. Well, actually, blue getting extremely unfortunate here because this is the 3rd triangle with a road that red is drawing, which makes it this extremely unlikely. Okay, so we have a triangle, 2 city caps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a crossroads, a simple crossroads. And any curves? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No curves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 straight line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So we have 1 straight line, 2 city caps, exactly the kind of Dan needs. 1 triangle of the kind that Dan does not need. But red could use that triangle very well. And he did find the winning move. So unfortunately for blue, blue has no way of increasing his point count. Well, I actually also forgot that this tile fit over there. So, and he got 3 points with that move by adding 1 more city to his farm. Still might be not quite enough. Well, he's gonna claim this ruin over here. Wait a minute. So red, of course, has no other choice than to take 5 points here or 5 points over here. But then blue will take 8 points over here with the remaining city cap. So this will be 3 further points. Does this seem that blue is going to edge it out? It certainly looks so. Well, we do hope that the player with the red meeples does not lose on time. Gabriel, let's go. 5 points. That's all that is possible at the moment. I can guarantee that. No cheeky 6-point farms. And no opportunity for defensive scoring. Because there is a city cap and it does go over here. Don't lose on time, please. That'll be most unfortunate. It looks like blue is winning, but just by a small amount. Yeah, I guess in order for red to win, he had to hope to get this crossroads earlier so that he would have 1 more meeple to claim this ruin, but Dan is going to be first on this ruin, and will that win the UK the match? Why did I refresh it? I mean, we should have kept the intrigue. And yes, Blue, in fact, did manage, just because he managed to take off his meeple. Finally, he got the meeple, and this allowed him to gain the winning 8 points. He was actually still ahead by +3. But certainly a very close game that could have turned either way. All right, congratulations to the team captain for ensuring the victory to his team. But it's still worth watching whether Colombia will manage to make it a close game again. Well, it will be a close game for sure. So we see only 3 tiles remaining in this decider. So this means that today, technically, we've managed to see everyone. Well, except Ever, but come on, I mean, that wasn't possible in any scenario. It does look quite favorable for Reds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because there's still one more tile that fits over here. And this would allow Red to take over this huge ruin, which is roughly 20 points. And that looks like one of the possible win conditions. However, is this the only win condition? So we have this shared farm over here. But Yellow is 5 points ahead on the scoreboard. He has a 9-point farm, so that's 14. He has a, well, but Red has a farm over here, so that's 8. And then he has bits and pieces over here. So apparently Yellow calculated that there's still stuff left for possible quick points. Now, we expect Red to calmly take 4 points over here. I cannot imagine many other things. And this would leave Red with a 33% winning chance. Because there's a 33% chance, obviously, of him getting the remaining tile that fits over here. But it is not obvious whether that's going to be enough. Oh, okay, Ever here in the chat saying that the second and the third game were quite slow. Okay, I stand corrected. But it also could be your definition of slow. By the way, interesting. So, well, I'm not sure if I should reveal that, but Ever, whom I consider to be pretty much the fastest or the second fastest player on the UK team. And here we see, by the way, Chris drawing the tile that Reds needed, which looks like Red win condition. And it looks like the UK is about to win 4-1 rather than 3-2, contrary to my expectations, but maybe aligned with the expectations of some of you. Well, this definitely means that this makes life a little bit harder for Team Latvia, because we would still want to win Colombia in our next week, either in order to qualify, with that slim chance, but now it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but there's still theoretical possibility, or at least to get ourselves a higher tournament standing. But because of this match, the Colombian team is going to be extra motivated to get at least 1 point in the tournament. So we're probably going to face a harder resistance. Even the combined forces of Latvia and Lithuania were barely enough last year. So in the 2021 World Team Carcassonne Online Championships, when I was competing as part of the United Latvian-Lithuanian team, we won against Colombia, but we won 3-2, and there was a decider game, which happened to be my game against Jose Ferrario with a screen name Pechitos. I used to be Dyslexic. And that game, by the way, is reviewed in depth in one of my videos. The video is called My Best Game of WTCOC 2021. But yeah, so that was hard back then, even when we had the Lithuanian part to our team. So I wonder what it's going to be now. Well, now, Red will think carefully, but Red will, in all likelihood, end up scoring 4 points for the road above. Right over here. I can't really see many other things for them. By the way, now that we've known the tiles, so we see that there was this city splitter and there was this crossroads, which are both quick point tiles. So this means that Chris must have thought of that. And because there were still quick point tiles remaining, this move, meepling this 2-point road, was actually correct. So Yellow demonstrating some nice precision here. Red, of course, wants to make extra sure that there is nothing more than 4 points. But I do believe they can be sure. Maybe he's considering a defensive placement, because, for example, imagine if there's a curve still in the game. If there were a curve still in the game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but there isn't. If there were a curve still in the game, then there would be the 6-point spot for farm over here, because this city, that's 2 times 3, that's 6. Oh, okay, so he chooses to take the points the more elegant way, adding 1 point to his monastery and 3 points for the field. However, this move also allows Yellow to take 4 points, 1 for the city, 3 for the field, and it will secure the current and most recent UK champion, the narrow win in this match, and a convincing win for the United Kingdom in this match against Colombia over here. Oh, I forgot something. Oh, all the time I didn't see this red meeple. So this field is actually Red's. Oh, so it's a tie. Okay, so I thought like there would be a 12. Wait, who was last? Oh, so it's actually. You see, like, oh. Yeah, please try to correct me, my dear viewers, when I do such stuff like this. There was a second farm. So this means that this was only one of the possible win conditions for Reds. Yeah, so much so that the game was basically was almost unwinnable for Yellow. You see, it's a tie, but Yellow started first, so Red won, and it turned out to be, yes, it's a 3-2 score with some quite close matches. So probably one of the best scenarios for our Carcassonne viewers. Maybe the only thing what would have been better is for last game to have finished after this game, so that the last game would have been the actual decider. But yeah, I like this too. All right, well done Sergio for winning this game. Well done Chris for making it close, and well done Team UK for keeping your chances much alive of advancing further. and securing an overall convincing win. I don't think we're going to do an analysis today. The stream has been long enough, and I was planning a short one. But we are planning some massive streams next week because... Oh no, not next week. Next week we're probably just going to stream one game. We're going to stream UK-Brazil. And I can't really stream Latvia Colombia because I'm likely to be playing in that one. This game is still very important for us. Despite the low chances of advancing, the championship is not over. But after that, I will probably be streaming more than once per week once we have the playoff rounds, and then we'll have some new special guests as well. Right, let's see what the players write in the chat. Dan here announcing the score. Actually, we should also change the score as well. Maybe for the thumbnail in the future. And I have a new personal accomplishment. I think out of all the streams we've had today, I've messed up the least number of colors. And there were some games where I didn't mess up any colors at all. I'm most happy about that. And that's gonna be it. I'm gonna see you next week for some more interesting matches. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.